Welcome back. We are on part 2, page 4, and we have one pre-cut, and that is just a 6 by 9 1/8, and we called it a mat. There's no scoring. In your paper pack, you will find this print, and on the back, it is this. So we're going to be cutting this a little bit different. So please get your ruler and your pencil. So from the bottom to the top, measure up 9 1/8 and make a pencil mark. Pencil mark. Okay. Next, what we're going to do is lay our ruler down, measure over 6 inches, and make a pencil line. Is where I put that line up, I should probably come over here and just make a pencil line here. Maybe draw a line. So first thing is here is that mark we made at 9 1/8. So I'm going to be cutting all the way over until I hit 6 inches. So 9 1/8. And I'm looking for my mark for the 6 inch. And I think it's right about there. So now that I have that, now I'm going to go straight down. So I am going to move my cutter because I don't want to cut this part up here. So we're just kind of putting this on, and I'll come up until I hit that point. It's a little bit harder when you don't have a paper cutter handy then I'm just going to go right like this, and I'll just cut right on over. So as you can see, this is what I have. I need both pieces. So I'm going to set this one off to the side, the dragon. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this upside down. And I'm going to measure over 7 1/8. So I'll get this put up here, and then I'll cut. This piece we'll put in our reserves. All right, so you should have this. We're going to turn it this way. That little piece is down here. Measure over 9 1/8 and cut. So I think you can see. If you have an easier way of doing it, then do so. I'll put that in my reserves. So this is going to be our main sheet. Let's go ahead and set that off to the side. Grab the dragon. The next thing that we're going to want to do is cut out and around the dragon. Now you may want to wait and see how I do mine, but I'm just going to come up from the bottom, and when I get to this tip, I'm not going to come and cut in here. I'm just going to continue up and around. That way that'll leave a little more stability for us on how we use this. So I'll come up and around. You can go like that, come in through here if you'd like, up, and you can go around these. And when you come down to the side over here, you're going to want to, let's see, 1, 2, 3. So those little humps here, by the third one, just come straight over. So let me do mine really quick, and I'll show you what I came up with. So here is mine, and I want to bring this up so you can see. There's those 3 ridges, and then what I came across is right above, it's like A. But for the top, I just kind of weaved around that. Left that alone. So that's what I have. Now what you're going to want to do is apply glue, and you can bring it down to the corner here, and you're going to glue this down, and then you'll cut out and around, leaving about a 1/16 of black showing. So let's do that really quick. I have mine completed, so I'm going to set this off to the side for just a moment. There's a couple more things that I'd like to get. I want to see how it looks. So you should have this in your reserves. And the one that we want is anything you can imagine you can make real. So I'm just going to cut this out. There's that. And I'm going to cut out and around this piece. Then if you are using the ink like I am, I'm going to go ahead and ink around the edges on this. All right, so I have that. Don't put it to anything yet. I'm going to set that off to the side. There's something else I wanted to try. Now on our cut apart sheet in our reserves, you see this and that. Well, we're going to cut that out. I'm going to cut out and around each one of these pieces and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm going to grab my ink and I think I'm going to go ahead and do that as well around here. Just kind of ink up around the edges. All right, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the little sentiment here. I'm just going to put a little glue along the side. Now I want to make sure that this is going to fit on the dragon. So what's going to happen is this is going to be here and I don't want this going out to the side. So I'm going to be very careful on how I do this. So if you were to put it down right here at the bottom of the dragon, you can see. All right, now for this, I'm just going to add a little glue to the side here. Now I'm going to glue this down to some black cardstock and I'm going to cut out and around, leaving a little bit of black. So that brings it forward on our piece. I have mine completed. And I'm just going to put that right on in there. Now I want to be able to just put glue back behind on the edges here, top and edges, come down to here, and glue this down and along the bottom. That way if I want to be able to do a tag or slide something in there, maybe a partial picture, but I don't want to put any over here to close it off. So I'm just going to rotate that. Come up. I'm going to come along the bottom and then make sure I get that. And again, make sure that you do not come off the page. So this next part, what we have to do is actually place this in the book first and then this. That way it will close off this area. We're trying to conserve on paper, so instead of cutting a full sheet, I just used what it was in the book. So we're going to turn this over. We're going to put score tape around the outside like a picture frame. We'll go one down the middle, and then what we can do is maybe two short ones in there. And then I'm going to meet you at the book for putting this in. All right, here is our page 4. I have the backing off this, and I think what I'm going to do so you can see the edges of my pages, I'm just going to slide just this back behind my page 4, and that way you can see where my borders are. It'll be easier. So on this particular one, what we're going to do is we're going to come in 1/8 inch from the side, and we're going to try and situate this like we have before, and that is trying to stay straight. So I think that's as good as I'm going to get here. And that still is going to leave me about 1/4 inch away from there. Let's burnish this down. Now for this, what I'm going to have, and I'm going to move that out of there now. What we need to do is to bring this down and close off the side underneath here and go across the bottom. I'm going to be using score tape. If you feel more comfortable using glue, do so. So I'm just going to come right on down the side. On this one, like I said, if you feel more comfortable with glue, then do that. And I'm going across the bottom. Now, if after you were cutting this out and applying it to the black cardstock, you're kind of flung up this way, before you place it, go ahead and give it a nice little bend so that it curves into the page rather than up away. And you're just going to match up your bottom first. Let me grab my book. So the side of this is going to be the decorated paper will line up with the side of this one. And you just take your time. So like I said, if you feel more comfortable using glue, then do so. I think right about here. and I'm going to burnish really well. So I'm just going to grab this out of my reserves. And remember, this is a pocket for us, which is nice. But here's this. And now what you can do is place in here to tuck back behind and hold your photographs in there. You can also frame a photograph right here and still have the dragon. So that's how that works. Page 4 is complete. We're now moving on to page 5. We're on page 5, and we have one pre-cut 6 3/8 by 8 inch, and it's a pocket. So what we did was we laid this on our scoring board. We are 6 3/8 across, and we scored at a half. We then rotated it. We're now 8 inches across. We scored at a half and 7 1/2. And this is another one where it said on the instructions on the PDF, do not pre-assemble. So let's cut out our squares and fold back. We're going to do the same thing we did on a previous page. So we're just getting this ready. All right, we're ready to go there. We're going to set that off to the side. In your paper pack, you will have this print. On the back, it is this. So the first thing I'd like us to do is just turn this upside down. We're going to measure over 7 1/8 and cut. Once you've done that, this is what you should have. Turn it this way, measure over 9 1/8 and cut. This is our main decorated page here. In your reserves, you will have this. And we are going to cut out, like we've done before, this piece. And we're going to put this on our paper cutter to get straight cuts. So we're going to cut all the white off. And of course, we'll curve it around there. So let's get this ready. Here are all my pieces. I've cut out the curve. I've cut out all the white around it. And we're going to do the same thing we did before. We're just going to fold in the sides. The opening is here. And we'll fold up that bottom piece so that we can kind of see where we're at. We're going to start with the owl. And we're going to bring it down to the bottom left, and we're going to leave a 1/16 of black, or just a sliver, down here and along the side. The next one is the violin. And we'll start over here, and we'll do the same thing. 1/16 from the side, 1/16 from the bottom. Before we apply glue, let's verify that how these are going to look. Remember, I wanted to try and keep a 1/16, a sliver of black in between. So I'm just going to eyeball this to make sure it's going to work. And it does. So let's do that. And our last one. And if you need to erase anything, so in case it's going to fall in between where the black shows, you can erase. I know I needed to. And then we'll get these in. All right. Once again, we'll come in from the side and we'll cut out and around the tops, leaving about a 1/16. I have mine done, and now we'll just flip it over and assemble. Down in the corners here, pull in the sides and up. And I'm going to give mine a little bend, and I will get that on there, centering it side to side. And then I'm going to pucker this up a little bit. Bring this out of your reserves, and we're going to get ready for adventure. Let's cut out and around this. I'm going to go ahead and put some ink around this. Next, I'm going to glue it down to some black cardstock, cut out and around, leaving about a 1/16. All right, here's mine. And I'm just going to kind of give that a little bend. And I'm going to get the little sides here in the bottom. Page 5 is complete. Let's flip it over. Score tape around the outside like a picture frame. One down the middle, one on each side. And once you've done that, I'm going to show you. Come in 1/8 from the side, center that top and bottom, and place it. My page 5 is in the book. We are now moving on to page 6. We're on page 6, and we have several pre-cuts. Page 6 is similar to page 3, with the exception of a couple things. So let's go over these pre-cuts. We had 2 pieces that were 5 5/8 by 6 1/4. On each one of these, we laid these on our scoring board. We are 6 1/4 across. We scored at 1/2 and 5/8 on each one of these, and we called these back fold outs. Next, we had a 7 3/4 by 9 1/8. We called it a large fold out. We laid this on our scoring board. We are 7 3/4 across. We scored at 1/2 and 3/4. Next, we had a 7 7/8 by 11 inch, and we called it an envelope. The first thing that we did was lay this on our scoring board. We are 7 7/8 across. We scored at 1/2 and 7 3/8. We then turned this, so now we are sitting at 11 inches. We scored at 2 3/8. 2 1/2, and 6 7/8. Last piece was a 5 1/2 by 6 3/8. We called it an FO flip, fold out flip. We laid this on our scoring board. We are 5 1/2 inches across, and we scored at 1/2 inch. In your paper pack, you will find this print. On the back, it is this. Let's turn this completely upside down. This is over here. Measure over 7 1/8 and cut. After making that cut, we're going to turn it this way. So you'll notice that this is over here. Measure over 9 1/8 and cut. This is going to be our main sheet. Let's start by getting some of these things attached. Grab your 2 back fold outs. Let's fold on those score lines. And each one, we're going to have a hinge off to the left and a hinge off to the right. So over here, the outside score line, pinch and crease. And we're just going to kind of center that in there, top and bottom, the best we can. And we'll attach this. All right, this one, the outside score line, pinch and crease, and we're going to line that up with the other. We'll get this one down. Okay, now while these are still flattened out, we need to grab our 7 3/4 by 9 1/8 large fold out. Let's fold on those score lines. All right, this time the hinge is going to be off to the right on this. On the outside score line, pinch and crease. You'll still be able to see your other score line. We're just going to hook that on right on back behind. Get that down. All right, so let's go ahead and open this up, check for any glue here, and then we'll fold back on these. Press it in for our spacing. We'll do the same with this one. So now on this one here is the top that goes over this. We're going to go ahead and get this all ready to go here. Let's grab our fold out flip. And we'll go ahead and fold on that. So on this one, what I want to do is, here is with the peak up. We're going to go ahead and apply glue to this. And we'll bring it over and leave about a 1/16 away. And we're going to center that top and bottom there. So we're just going to get this all ready to go. Whoops, got a little crazy with my glue there. And I know I got crazy with my glue, so I'm going to open this up and clean up anything. All right, let's grab 2 magnets, a plus and a minus. I'm going to grab this plus here. Now on this, we're going to open this up, and we're going to come in about 3/4 from your score line until you hit here, somewhere in the middle. All right, now you're going to close that up. Grab your minus, we'll just set that there, and then we're going to just do a dot of glue in the middle. Whoops. And now we're going to make sure that we have folded back, and then we're just going to let this come over without pulling. Press, we'll lift up, and then that tells me exactly where I need to be here. We'll grab that, place it down. There we go. And now what we're going to do is we're just going to open this up, and we'll let those dry and keep them apart so they don't shift around on us. And we're going to work on the inside here. In your paper pack, you will have this. Let's do the same thing we did before. We're going to put this on our paper cutter, and we're going to go ahead and divide these up, take off all the white trim. And then if we need to trim these down a little more, we can. I'll show you mine when I'm done. Here are all my pieces. Let's grab the bookshop one, and we'll flip it over. So I'm going to glue that down. And I'm going to slide this back behind so I can kind of see where my edges are. All right, for this one, I'm going to apply glue. And I'm going to stick it over here, making sure first, before I put it down, that it doesn't need to be trimmed. Okay, once you've done that, fold that in. This one here, I'm going to apply glue, and I'm going to do it right on this one that folds in. Next, I'm going to fold that one over. We're going to apply glue, and we're going to glue that down. And don't forget to remove your little backing off your magnet. That side is done. Let's move on in to here. In your reserves, you will have this piece. On the back of these, you'll see this. All we're going to do on this is, let's see, we are going to turn this around. So we are looking at where we can see the words up here, and we can see the words up here. We're just going to put these two together. So this is what it looks like, because we're looking at it like this. Measure over 8 7/8 and cut. After making that cut, this is what you should have. Don't glue it down yet. Now looking at it like this, measure over 2 inches and cut. All right, let's grab our glue. Whoops, shame on me. I'm a little heavy-handed with glue. I need to not squeeze the bottle so much. All right, we're gonna go ahead and leave ourselves probably about, I would say, leave yourself a good 1/8 away from your score line. Get that in there, center top and bottom. Now for this, we're gonna apply glue. We'll line it up with the top and bottom of this piece, and we will leave about 1/8 of an inch away from this score line. We'll glue that down. All right, let's move in to over here. In your reserves, you will have these pieces on the back. It is this. Let's go ahead and put these together. So this is here, it just comes over. Measure over 6 1/8 and cut. All right, we're gonna grab and put some glue on this one to start. And we'll leave ourselves maybe a 1/16 away from our score line there. Center, top, and bottom. And now we're going to apply glue to this. We will put that right on top, and we're going to glue that down like this. All right, let's get this out. Let's cut it out. Let's cut out and around this piece really quick. Now, when you cut out and around this, we're going to be cutting this off, but we can probably use some of the books or something else. You might want to put this on your paper cutter to get a straight cut going down after you're done cutting around. So one thing I think we're going to do is chop off part of this side. So what I want you to do is grab your pencil. Now, we still have work to do, but we're going to bring the side of this over to the side of our decorated paper there. I'm going to push mine up just a little bit so that I can see where the edge of this paper is. And then I'm just going to make a pencil mark here. And I'm going to cut. The next thing I'd like you to do is to apply glue. And then just cut out and around this, leaving a black border. Now, one thing about this is, you know how it has that tip on there? I'm going to take off that very top little tip. It's going to be really weak, I think, even with the backing. But I am going to take that off and just leave that. So I'll show you what mine looks like as soon as I am done. So here is mine. And I think with this one, what I'm going to do is kind of keep this open-ended. So I'm going to rotate this, and I'm just going to put a line of glue here and a line of glue here. And then I'm going to place this. Make sure you are not on your score line. So now it's open-ended, and you can just kind of slide a photograph back in there. If you'd like to tap yours down a little, you can do that. Let's get to this. In your reserves, you will have these pieces. This is what they look like. This is the trimming from this, and then you have that. We are going to grab this one. We're going to just use it. I think it'll look good together, piecing this together. We're going to go ahead and leave ourselves a border side to side, a little bit at the top there. And now for this. And then we're going to slightly layer that right on top of the other so we can get that border down there. Line it up, and it should fit. So when we did this page on page 3, it took us quite a while, but I'm kind of going through this kind of quickly because you kind of have the idea of what we did before. All right, let's close that up. Set that off to the side. And let's get this. So if you remembered, what we did before was, here's the smaller section on the score line. I'm going to put mine on my paper cutter so I can get a straight line. We're going to cut all the way down to this one, and then we'll cut over. And we'll do the same thing over there. And we need to leave that alone. So I'll show you mine in just a moment. So far this is what I have. Let's go ahead and fold back, and we'll fold on each one of these. And now that you know what's going to happen with this part, I think it's okay and it's safe to say that we can add glue to our flaps down here. Whoops, got crazy. And we can fold these up. All right, so here is the little envelope, the pocket there. And we're just gonna turn it like this and set that off to the side, and we're gonna get our paper. In your reserves, you will have this really long piece. We're gonna turn it this way. Measure over 2 1/4 and cut. After making that cut, this is what you should have, and this is an awesome trim piece for us to use, so put that in your reserves. And what do we got here? So we'll look at it with the books over here. Measure over 6 5/8 and cut. All right, let's rotate that, and we'll have this down here. Lay that down. 3 5/16. I'm going to try to keep my head out of the video this time. And put a dot down here, the edge. Now on each side, we're going to measure up 3/4. And now we're just going to use our ruler. Whoops, did I get that? There it is. Our ruler to connect. So the dot down here to the part over here. There. And now all we need to do is cut. And I am going to use my paper cutter for that. And I'll show you mine. Here is mine. I'm going to make sure this looks good. Again, I am looking at the back. So your envelope would normally be like this. And I'm just going to scoot that out. I'm going to apply glue. I'm going to center that side to side and leave about a 1/16 of black up here before hitting the score line, and that should give me a 1/16 of black down at the tip there. All right, and then now all we have to do is leave that little bit of black like a 1/16 and cut. You can use your paper cutter. I'm going to do this by hand the best I can. I'm not going to be too concerned if it isn't perfect here. I think it'll turn out all right. And I think that that's good enough. All right, I'm going to fold that up now, and I'm going to get a piece for here. We're going to be using up some scraps. So in your reserves, you will find these pieces. We have the books on this side and this. And on this one, you'll have part of the pipe, some books, and that. So I am going to turn it like this. So you'll see that the red book is over here. And these books are over here. This is this one. This one, I'm going to leave the books this way. So I'll double these up. I'm going to measure over 4 inches and cut. Just a little bit came off that piece. All right. This one we're going to leave alone now. We'll just put that off to here. On this one, we're going to rotate it. The books are on their sides. Measure over 2 inches and cut. All right, let's go ahead and apply glue to this one with the books. Now the books are going to be on the side, going sideways here. And here's the opening of my envelope. I'm just going to center that top and bottom and leave myself a little bit of a black border over there. And then this one, we're just going to put layer right on over that edge of that. And trying to keep this straight, match it up. So now this is what it looks like. And I think that looks pretty good. All right, let's find our paper for this. All right, in your paper pack, you will find this. We're going to measure over 6 5/8 and cut. Once you've done that, turn it sideways, measure over 5.5 inches and cut. All right, this is the one that we want. Now, if you'd rather have this side up, you can. I'm going to use this one. It's up to you, right? So I'm going to center this side to side. You're going to have thicker borders on each side there. So whatever thickness I have over here, I'll probably leave it over there too. Just kind of match it up. And again, I want to use this as a pocket, so I'm just going to rotate that, glue down the sides, the bottom. I'll bring this down. All right, before we go any farther, let's go ahead and Score tape around the outside like a picture frame, one down the middle and one on each side to get this ready to go. And then I'm going to take a peek to see if there's anything else I want to add. There probably isn't, but I want to see. All right, I got my score tape on, and I'm going to open this up. That's looking good. That's looking good. Let's see. Okay, this is what I'd like to do. And you don't have to if you don't want to. I'm going to cut out the books. I'm then going to place it down to some black cardstock cut out and around. So I'm going to do that really quick, and I'll be right back. So I have mine done, and I think I just want to add a little something right over here. So I'm just going to create a tuck, and I think I'm just going to leave it open at the sides. So I can just slide whatever I want. Just like that. All right, that goes like that. That goes like that. I will meet you at the book for this one to place it in. I have my score tape backing off. I am going to place something behind my page 6 so you can kind of see. But this is one where we have to come all the way over to the edge without going over on this. So it gives us more room. We're really bulky here. So to the edge. Get that out now that you can see. And then we just open it up and we do our burnishing. All right, page 6 is complete. We are now moving on to page 7. We're on page 7. There are no pre-cuts. In your paper pack, you will find this print. Turn it upside down to where the books are here. Measure over 7 1/8 and cut. Once you've made that cut, place your piece like this. The books are over here. Measure over 9 1/8 and cut. This is what you're going to be left with. There are no pre-cuts for page 7, so we're going to go ahead and flip that over after you get yours ready. Score tape around the outside like a picture frame, one down the middle and 2 shorter ones on each side, and I'll meet you at the book. All we're going to do is do like we normally do, leaving 1/8 inch of our black cardstock showing, and that should give you a 1/4 inch away. Center that top and bottom, and place it in your book. Page 7 is complete. We are now moving on to page 8, our final page. We're on page 8, our final page. We have 2 pre-cuts. So we had a 3 3/8 by 8 1/8, and we called it a small pocket. And what we did was we laid this on our scoring board. We are 3 3/8 across, and we scored at a half. We turn this. We are now 8 1/8 across. We scored at a half, and 7 5/8. We also had a 7 by 8 1/8 large pocket. We laid this on our scoring board. We are 7 inches across. We scored at a half. We then turned this. We are 8 1/8 across. We scored at a half. And in your paper pack, you will find this print, and on the back, it is this. The first thing I would like you to do is measure over 7 1/8 and cut. Once you've done that, turn it this way. The door is up here. Measure over 9 1/8 and cut. All right, so this is our main decorative page. We'll set that off to the side. Let's go ahead and cut out the squares at the bottom of our pockets, and then we'll fold back. On the small one, let's go ahead and assemble this the normal way. Put our glue down at the bottom. That is ready to go. And for this one, let's just set that off to the side. In your paper pack, you will find this. Let's go ahead and cut these out. I kind of like how the pockets came out before with the shape. Let's see if we can get this to work. Put that in your reserves. Let's go ahead and use our paper cutter, cut out and around each one, and then we'll use our scissors to cut out the curves. I have all mine cut out. Here's our large pocket. I'm going to fold in so all I can see is what I need to see, the pocket. We're going to start with the owl. Now when you place this, here's the opening right here. You're going to come up, you can leave this all blank down here because it's going to get covered anyway. And I am just going to leave about a 1/16 over here and about a 1/16 of black showing up here. Let's get the door, and we'll do the same thing over here. And now what we're going to do is just kind of look at our pieces. So this one over here I'll lay down, and this one over here, and we will make sure that our spacing is even. So I can see how much spacing I need to leave from here. If you want to put a little pencil mark, 'cause it's a little more than what we had before, and just kind of look at it like that. So now I know how far away, and if you need to put a pencil mark, do so, they need to be, so that that black shows through in between. Okay, you know what to do. Come straight in from the side and cut out around those curves and then cut off. I have mine done. I'm going to go ahead and assemble. And this will hold large photo mats. So if you have some larger photos. All right, we have that. Now here's the opening. We'll get our glue on here. Now I'm going to glue this whole thing down. All right, let's get our paper for this. In your reserves, you will find this piece. On the back, it's this. We'll look at it like this little trim piece is over here. Measure over 2 3/4 and cut. Let's see how that looks. Bring it down to the bottom of your pocket, and that should give you a lip there. We'll glue that down. And then there's one more thing that I'd like to get after. I think it'll look really good on this page. In your reserves, let's get this out. Let's cut that book out. Now let's cut out and around the book. And then we're going to glue that down to black cardstock, cut out and around, leaving a 1/16 of black showing. One thing that you might want to do is to use your distress ink, and I am going to be distressing around here before I glue it down to black cardstock. Mine is complete. And I'm just going to go ahead and glue this down right like this. So I think I'm just going to get my edges here and down here and come up so far. And I'm going to stick a piece of scratch cardstock back behind here, just in case my glue is a little high. And that'll give me an opportunity if I want to, whoops, there goes my scratch. But you can get back behind here. So I want to make sure I get the edges here, so it does not pop forward on me. All right, I am looking, and now I want to get the violin out, and I'm going to do the same exact thing. So cut out and around, glue it down to some black cardstock. Here is mine. And I'm going to stick that right here, and I am going to glue this down to the front of that. So I'm just going to kind of eyeball this, and then I'll get the rest. Some scratch cardstock back there. All right, grab this out of your reserves, get Special Moment. If you would rather not use Special Moment and you want to use something else, by all means do so. And I'm going to cut out and around this. I am not going to back this to black cardstock. However, I am going to, once I cut out and around, I am going to use my Distress ink. And I think, I don't want to cover up too much of this. That would look good there, but I'm going to bring this up right up here, Special Moment. I don't want to cover up any of the violin or any of that book. So I'm just going to go somewhere up here. All right, flip it over, score tape around the outside like a picture frame. One down the middle, one on each side, and I will meet you at the book. Here we are. So with this, what we're going to do is we are just going to place that right down in there. That should leave you probably about a ½ inch from the side, and we will place that. I have all the score tape backing off, and again, try to get your decorative paper to line up with this side and leave about a ½ inch. Somewhere in there. I'm just going to go for it right here. I don't want to get my head in the video again. So, got that down. And there is page 8. I think this looks really good. I think it came out awesome. I love it. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you real soon on my next tutorial. And I do want to try and squeeze in some quicker, smaller projects, especially with Christmas coming up, so you may see something like that real soon. Happy crafting, everybody, and I will see you on my next video.